We're, of course, talking about the building, the construction of the Mishkan, the incredible way that God designed for the process of building. There's not one person who is greater than anybody else. Everybody gives what they can, gives their talents. It belongs to all of us. It's not obligatory. There's no coercion. They're not slaves in Egypt. It's nedivat lev, whoever wants to give. Just to review some of what we said earlier. And today, yesterday, we talked really about the kruvim, the cherubs, compared to going back to Gan Eden and the space in between the kruvim. And today I want to talk about perhaps the most well-known symbol within the Mishkan, which might not be the most important of the kalim, of the vessels. Those who say the most important of the vessels is the Aron, the ark. That's the place that God resides above it and speaks to Bnei Yisrael. But I refer to the menorah, the lamp. How do you translate menorah? Menorah, you translate it as a menorah. We know what a menorah is. It's different than what we would call today a Chanukiah, which we light on Hanukkah, which has 8 lamps, and then one in the middle, what we call the shamash. The menorah in the Beit HaMikdash had 7, so it's slightly different. Those are the sort of things that annoying teachers like me or in schools teach the kids. It's not a menorah. We don't like the menorah on Hanukkah. We like the Chanukiah. But let's talk more about the menorah, and let me give you a few different ideas and thoughts about the menorah. So first, when we talk about the menorah, one thing that's important to note is that it was one piece of gold. It had to be miksha achat. Must have been a very, very large piece of gold. I don't know. I guess they took gold. They must have melted it down into a larger piece. But it wasn't assembled from parts. The branches, the cups, the knobs, the flowers, they all emerge from one source. And maybe this is part of the reason that the menorah has become an important symbol of the Jewish people on flags, on banners. Right? If we think about it, the Jewish people are complex. We're different. There are different denominations. There are different Hasidic groups. Some people, Judaism is an ethnicity, and others it's a people, and others it's a religion, and others it's whatever it might be. We are Jews, but we see the world vastly differently from all different places. There are lots of different branches, personalities, roles, opinions, but we're meant to be one organic whole. True unity is, of course, not uniformity. It's integrated diversity and people coming together. So, right, we come out of one source. We come out of one quote unquote piece of gold, and we branch in different ways. And that's the beauty. And one could say that that's part of what illuminates Judaism and keeps it alive is the different opinions, the different ideas, the different thoughts, the different approaches, but it all should come from one source, and it all should be to hopefully enhance the world, enhance ourselves spiritually, our soul, enhance others, help others around us. So the menorah, miksha achat, it comes from one source, just like our people, even if we're going in vastly different direction. Now, if we talk about the lighting of the menorah, you ask the question, what's the point? Why does the Mishkan need light? There are windows. Why do we need light? So the rabbis point out that the light is not there for God, but the light is there for us. In fact, in a similar way, the Midrash talks about that the windows in the Beit HaMikdash were narrow on the inside and wider on the outside. Right? You would think you would want windows wider on the inside so that you get more light in. It's the opposite of normal regular windows. The rationale being is that, or the explanation being that the light from the Beit HaMikdash radiates outward. It goes in an outward direction. We're not trying to light up God. It's the ideas of God, the Kedusha of the Mishkan, of the Mikdash, are lighting us up. The light is going out. Torah is not meant to illuminate God, the teachings of God, our mitzvot. It's meant to illuminate the world. The menorah represents sort of spiritual light and goodness and morality. And it has to flow outward from the limited place, from the Beit HaMikdash, from the Kodesh HaKadoshim. It has to flow outward into reality, similar to what we talked about the other day. I've said many times before, the Mishkan, the Shekhinah, God is your Shachain, God is your neighbor, Mr. Rogers, God is in your Shechunah, God is in your neighborhood. And part of the whole purpose of that is that it doesn't mean that when you're in the Mishkan or 2 feet outside the Mishkan, then you have to act very, very well because God is your neighbor. It's God is your neighbor, and now it's supposed to influence everything that you do. It comes out, it's right next to you, and it's supposed to radiate outward and describe how each step we take, every action that we take, and everything that we do is sort of in the shadow of that, right next to that. So Judaism, right, is not meant to withdraw from the world. We're not supposed to be hiding ourselves behind walls. When we were placed into walls, into ghettos, shtetls, that's not something we wanted to do. That was something that was forced upon us. We're not trying to hide away from the world. We're trying to bring ideas and thoughts and morality into the world for people, us and others, to do a little bit or hopefully a lot better. Now, the menorah, even though it's from one piece and it's illuminating outwards, it was very decorative. Talks about how amongst the things that were on the menorah were almond blossoms. Now, the word for an almond blossom that's used in the Torah is shkedim. Now, these almond trees that are in Israel, and I'll have to trust what I read on the internet about it because I can't say that I know this, are the fastest trees to blossom in Israel. That's what they are. They're the fastest trees to blossom, and they're all over the menorah. And it's talked about, in fact, by one of the great prophets who many of us studied together a long time ago. In the opening chapter of the book of Yirmiyahu, God comes to Yirmiyahu and he says to Yirmiyahu, Ma taroeh, Yirmiyahu, what do you see, Yirmiyahu? And Yirmiyahu responds to him. He says, Makal shaked ani roeh. He says, I see a branch of a almond tree, a shaked, and it's supposed to be a linguistic idea. God responds to him, Vayomer Hashem Elai. God says back to Yirmiyahu, Heitiv talirot. What you saw is, I don't like the word good. It's because what he's going to see is not good, but what he sees is correct. Ki shoked ani al divari la'asot. Because I am shoked, which also means diligent, alert, quick, watchful over my word to fulfill it. If I say something, I am going to make it happen. Right? Shkedim, almonds, they grow fast. And it's called that, or the word related to it, shoked, means to be alert, to work, to diligently, to use alacrity. It's something, I'm not lazy, I'm getting things done very, very quickly. Unfortunately, if you know from the book of Yirmiyahu, in the book of Yirmiyahu, God is talking about the boiling pot up in the north that's going to come down, representative of the Babylonians who are going to destroy the Beit HaMikdash. God is shoked al dvari, to destroy Israel. If Bnei Yisrael, there's still attempts at the beginning of the book for Bnei Yisrael to return, to repent. They don't do that. But God says what's going to happen is going to be swift. So the almond tree, it blossoms quickly. The first tree to flower in Israel. It's about being moving quickly. Zrizut is the word that we would use in Hebrew. Waking up in the morning alertly and quickly running to do avodat haboreh. It symbolizes alertness and rapid fulfillment. And so, what is it saying? The menorah is decorated with cups shaped like almond branches because its light is supposed to be alert. What does that mean? It means that when we can't be sleepy in our study of Torah and action of Torah. It's not passive illumination. We have to be strong. We have to be alert. We have to be attentive. We have to move quickly. God moves quickly, and we have to move quickly as well. The menorah, it looks in a sense like a tree. It's alive, it's budding, and spiritual life has to be alive. It has to be alert. It has to grow. You can't just allow it to move in a very, very slow fashion, because then it's going to disappear. It's not going to continue and not going to grow in the way that it should. So our the menorah, in a sense, represents that spiritual growth has to be alive. It has to be dynamic. It has to move quickly. It can't be static. It has to, and therefore, it's in a sense, it's shaped, right? It's shaped like a tree. We think of menorah as menorah, but think of it. It is moving upwards. The lights are moving upwards. The Torah has to be living. It has to be blossoming. It has to be moving. It has to be responsive. And that's the truth about Jewish life. And much which we talked about back in Parshat Yitro and Parshat Mishpatim. The Torah, beautiful book. We're studying it every week, but it's 3,000 plus years old. And some of the things that seem in many ways, if we understand them in the way that it's told to us, outdated, antiquated, doesn't really match necessarily all of our contemporary sensibilities and thought. But the Torah is not a static and stagnant document. We have the Torah Sheba'al Peh. The Torah is alive. It's Torah Chayim. It's something that we discuss. It's something that, in a sense, in ways that are too complex for our talk today, adapts and allows for flexibility and that's why it remains relevant. But if we don't allow for that growth, for that alertness, then it doesn't happen. Then Judaism becomes stale. It becomes an antiquated religion. It becomes something that doesn't inspire anymore, that doesn't challenge us and push us to become greater in the way that we live. One last idea that's interesting about the menorah is that Moshe had difficulty understanding the menorah. He couldn't go and he couldn't visualize it. He was unable to understand the way that the menorah looked. And God actually seems to show him the way that what the menorah looks like, and how one is supposed to see and look, because Moshe can't understand it. And there's an interesting, idea about that with the menorah, that the menorah, it's shaped like a plant. And I think that we talked about this way back when we were in the Tanakh class at some point in the daily Tanakh class. The menorah, there was a Israeli botanist, Noga Ruveni, and he did a lot of work on the plants of the Bible, and he uncovered that the menorah is shaped in a sense like a plant, um, which I can't find the name. I have it. I was looking for an article that I wrote about it. My apologies. Um, but it's shaped, and it's an oily plant, and it's only found in Israel. It's called the Salvia palestina. You can look it up, and if you look at it, it's shaped, and especially when it's pressed down, it looks like what a menorah, at least one form. We have different ways of understanding the way that the menorah looked, and I would like to think about it. It grows in Israel, and it is an oily plant, and Moshe didn't understand what it looked like. Well, why would Moshe not have understood what it looked like? Moshe never entered the land of Israel. Moshe may have not seen this, what it's called the Salvia Palestina. And I make the joke with, every once in a while that I'm going to get a Hanukkah bush. And my Hanukkah bush is not going to be, a Christmas tree, but it's going to be a Salvia Palestina. And you can look for it, search for it online, and you'll see it. But it's interesting to note that this is something that's related. The menorah is related to this botanical feature that grows in the land of Israel. I'll try to find. We can talk more about it in the coming days and weeks.